myself in case we have some new viewers. I'm Sarah M. I grew up in Cambodia, and my life was turned upside down when I was in college, away from my home, and my country went through a turnover of the regime when the Khmer Rouge communists took over, and they came in, basically destroyed our country and destroyed our life. I struggled to survive, almost didn't make it. I was sent to a death camp waiting to die, but thank God he he saved my life. So I'm here because of the grace of God, because people could not believe how could I be here, but I'm here. So I'm grateful, grateful, and I wrote my book, How I Survived the Killing Fields. It's available on my website, sarim.com, SARAIM.com. And right now, to spread the word of encouragement, to help people have hope, never give up hope, and I'm going out to speak. So if you ever need a speaker, just reach out to me or Lee. So that's all I want to say today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. So I am the other half, and we started this show since March 24th. And the reason is because we have very, very similar background. I am also a refugee from her neighbor country. She's from Cambodia. I was from Vietnam. So I don't want to take any more time. If you want to find out more about my story, just go to my website, leatran.com, and it can spill out everything in there for you. But today, I want to tell you this girl is my light, my inspiration for at least 10 years or 11 years. I have known Edna Valentino. She's a friend, she's a sister, she's an inspirer, and she's a coach. She's okay. Let me give her a real quick rundown before I give it to her. She's a television producer, and then she's a bodybuilder. When I met her, she has a little, not even have a little bump in her stomach with her firstborn, but her firstborn just turned 10 years old.
I know. That's how I remember how many years we've known each other.
Yes. And we met each other at Toastmaster. Is a lifelong friends where sometimes you can find those kindred spirit in those places, you know, real supporter. And she is a light shiner. She's shining so many bright lights, and anybody who touch her couldn't help it but feel also bright. And
aww, you're so sweet.
And she's a coach. And I used to admire her. This girl is such a great articulator, and she's such a strong mind and so much discipline with her bodybuilding and everything. And then, you know, life get busy. Everybody go their separate way. I have my business to build. She got a family to raise. And ho and below, the last 4 or 5 years, we have been reconnected. And you know, we always change direction. I mean, you should be too in life. Nobody should stand around, and always should march forward and change direction. And we both have changed direction numbers of times. And I'm just so happy that I have been reconnected with her and see that she is changing. She's tapping on a new route, but with her resilience method that she have been done in the past. So without further ado, I want you to meet my friend, my inspirator, Edna Valentino. So Edna, please tell us your journey and what are you up to? You know, everything, your story.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's so many parts to it. First, I want to tell you both, you are badasses. Okay. Like, you are badasses. What you have been through and what you are doing to pay it forward, it's just enough for you guys to survive and say, hey, I'm still here. But you guys also are taking the steps. And before the pandemic, you decided to do the show, like March 24th, 2020, right, Lee? Like, we're not talking about 2021. We're talking about, like, you've been doing this for a while. And to hear, and Sarah, I was on your website and looking at your story, and I jump on these Facebook Lives, and I'm like, God, the inspiration comes from just your stories alone, much less passing it on to everybody else. So thank you for the work that you guys are doing.
See, I proved my point. Hello, people. I proved my point. I told you she would turn around and make us shine instead of her. So that's why I love you so much. You're always giving the best part of your human to other people.
Oh my gosh. But you know what? Here's the thing. I am addicted to growth. I am addicted to being afraid and doing it anyway. I am addicted to people who are courageous, who are afraid and they go do it anyway. Like, I just love those stories. And, I've had my own journey where I've come from those places where, as a kid, I moved a lot. My parents were all, they were trying to figure it out for them and for my sister and me. And we moved a lot, and I was always the new kid in the class. I hated it. I was like, oh my God, everybody's looking at me. I'm new. I don't have any friends. Who am I going to sit with in the cafeteria? Who am I going to play with at recess? And then I make friends, and lo and behold, we're going to move again, and it was like, oh, here we go again. And every first day of school, I would cry. Oh my God. Like,
oh God, you should have called me while you were too young, because I had the same problem.
I should have called you.
I wasn't even moving. We still live in one place, but my mom just kept changing school for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, that changed. It's that change. Now I look back on that and I realize I don't need to know everybody at the party. I don't need to know, everything about everywhere I go. I look at it, like you said, Lee, as an adventure. Like, what story am I going to hear today? What person am I? And Lee, you were that person for me in Toastmasters, right? What did I say to you?
Each other. I know. You know what? I think somehow we are magnet to each other. And
Yes.
usually that you attract the people that have the same level of energy. Look at her energy. Can you sit still when you talk to this lady? I don't think so.
Sometimes people are like, calm down, Edna. I get so, like, electricity goes through me when I hear your stories. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, like, I want to be like you when I grow up, right? Like,
oh my God. And the thing is, I think from those experiences, it's actually helping us right now how to overcome that awkwardness when you go into a room. You just dive in and just like, because you have been trained so much in your youth, I hated it. I really hated it. But I think, watching my mom and doing it, I have to give it some credit. And I believe that those past, and in life, every one of us got through some sort of difficult past. But how are we going to turn that around? And I'm really kudos to you to turn that around and become the most magnet person in the world.
Well, I am wired for optimism. Like, that's in my DNA. I used to apologize for that sometimes because not everybody is. And I'd be in these circles with people and their energy, I could tell maybe I stood out, like their energy wasn't in the same place. And I'm like, oh, I need to like dim my light, right? Isn't there a quote out there that says, we can't be dimming our light to make other people feel comfortable. You got to be you. And not everybody's going to like it. Like, it's okay if you don't like me. I'll go hang out with the people that are like me or that like it. Right. Yeah. And that I get attracted to, and like attracts like. So, so when I look back at all those tears on the first day of school and changing schools and all that, I realize now, like you said, it was a gift. And that now I love meeting new people. I love just cheering people on. And I think you know, I ended up going down the career route. I graduated from college with a Bachelor of Arts in Communications, but television production was my major. And I wanted to always go into television. I remember as an 8th grader or 7th grader, I'd seen a movie, and the movie was about the behind the scenes of a television soap opera. And I thought, I love the cameras and the audio booth. I want to work in there. And so ever since then, I kind of made it, you know, my journey to get into television, and it was always behind the scenes. And so I worked at QVC, the largest home shopping, you know, channel in the world, and they're global, and it was phenomenal. And live television, adrenaline. I'm in my 20s. I'm making good money. I have great benefits. I have great vacation. And after 8 years, I met my husband there. He's still there. And it can't, you know, I was working my way up the corporate ladder, and I'm going, hold on a minute. I might need to get off this train, you know, like I feel like I'm being called to do something else. And in life, I think so many times, many of us will probably get that voice of maybe it's time to turn left here, or, you know, turn right, or go up, or go down, or whatever that voice is telling you. And we keep going because we think that's the thing we're supposed to do, right? And so I ended up doing that bodybuilding competition just as a hobby. It wasn't ever to get
Oh my God, just a hobby.
I take some crazy hobbies, right?
People have trained like 8 hours a day, probably just for that hobby. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but you know what? It was, I used to go to the gym, and I grew up playing sports, but team sports. I never, you know, and I'm working these crazy overnight hours at QVC, and I'm like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I had my nap after getting off at 9 a.m. and I start working out, and I'm looking through the magazine. I'm like, I want to do what they're doing in the magazine, you know, which was all the flipping and bodybuilding. And so anyway, I got a trainer, and 7 months later, I'm on the stage, and I feel amazing. And I won my class, and I did 4 more shows and won them and felt amazing. But what I learned out of that was life-changing for me was that I felt incredible because I had taken care of my body. It was the first time I really understood the power that we have to take care of this, right? This thing that goes, like, think about yours, right, Sarah? In Cambodia, that body was with you, that mind, right? You took it over there, you made it over here. Lead you to your stories of survival. Like, this is what we have that's taken us through the planet. And so I wanted to transfer that power of work, starting with your body, and then letting that unleash your potential, and letting that be the gateway to finding more courage for your potential, to be able to live your life the way you want to out loud in the world, not being afraid of what other people think, but because you feel good in your skin. And I'm not saying you have to do a bodybuilding competition. In the 10 years I was a trainer, I trained one girl to compete, and that was her choice. My thing is just move. And that's where I start a lot of people. I have a jumpstart program that helps people get started, and everything starts with moving your body. I so wholeheartedly believe that. I know when people would come in and want, I remember one girl coming in and training for the first time. You know, she had tried out for The Biggest Loser. Remember that show?
Wow. Wow.
She and her mom had tried out. They made it to like the top 15, and they got cut when they cut it to 11. And they were like devastated because they thought this is the answer. And they ended up coming into our gym. They lived locally and said, guess what happened to us? And I was like, oh my God, I want to get my hands on you. We're going to have fun together, right?
You don't need to be on TV.
Yes, right? So, and I remember training the daughter, and that day, one hour training session. And she went out and she made a dentist appointment, and she made a doctor's appointment, and she went to the grocery store and bought good food for her. Just by starting with your body, the ripple effect changed everything for her. And all of a sudden she started to show up happy, excited, you know, and we have our ups and downs along the way, but it was the start. It was that catalyst that got you going. And that's what I love about helping people is I don't really care how many calories you burn. I do love muscles on women, especially. I love doing push-ups on your toes, you know, like I love a good challenge. But what I want for you is to show up in the world the way you want to show up, bigger, really living to that potential. And there's all kinds of steps in between, but you start with your body and you start opening up pathways for your greatness to show up. We're only here for a minute on this planet. We can't waste it.
The blink
Right?
of an eye, and then your kid grow up and they move away, and then you have grandchildren, and then there's like, now what, you know?
I know, you're giving me goosebumps.
Well, I'm a little bit ahead of you, so I have seen it, but it is so true. I mean, I say action create more actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you sit still, everything is stagnant. But you
Right.
take that one step, you'll see something, and then it will lead you to the next step. It will lead you to the next step. And that's why I love the same energy. Like I'm a very hyperactive too, and I can be a very Debbie Downer too if I'm surround myself with the surrounding with people that are just like, eh. So I would be in that shoes. But if I've got be criticized, I'm a very hyperactive, but I think being a little bunny is good. The energized bunny is good. We want to be an energized bunny.
Yeah.
You know, just and keep going and keep going, because that's what the world needs.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
what
you
the world
do. And you do have to take care of that energy. You have to manage your energy. You know, first thing in the morning, I do something called the miracle morning,
needs.
which is journaling and visualization and affirmations, right? Gratitude, exercise, reading and writing. And so that's my time. That gives me energy
Right.
that lasts all day long. And then tomorrow I need it again, you know? And
Right.
so for some people, you have to look at how you manage your energy. If you're tired, if you're not feeling like you want to go for a walk, if you're not feeling like you want to hang in there at work or with a relationship, like where is your energy coming from, and what is depleting your energy is a big deal too. Yeah.
So it's really critical to generate that energy. It's like reading, you know, you get new idea from reading. You talk to friends who's climbing the mountains or doing bodybuilders and push up, and you have that little contagious thing that you want to do something because you see somebody, not to compete, but just like, you know, that energy does rub off.
Yes. Yes, and that's the power of the chemistry of bringing people together. You know, I love the energy of people. I love this Zoom. I would love more to be in the same room with both of you, you know, because you feel that, but as you move your body, that can happen. And, you know, I did a badass challenge, a 14-day badass challenge. I have a badass series on YouTube. I'm always looking for badasses because they inspire me.
If you are a badass, call Edna.
Yes, if you want to be more badass.
Are you a daring person? Are you a risk taker? You love life? You want to do stuff? Call this lady, because she will feature you, and she will definitely have some really great influence on you.
Well, and Lee, you were my first badass interview. Oh my gosh. Episode number 1, everybody, is Lea Tran. And I was like,
I'm embarrassing. Okay, now I'm gonna embarrassing you back. Okay, I'm sorry, Sarah. This is kind of like a love fest here. At my keynote at Toastmaster, I have featured Edna, and I said she is my shipmate. We roll together, we grow together. And I dare everyone to look around and find an Edna in their lives, because we all need to have somebody with exuberant energy, and we have that kind of like sparkle that you want to catch on and bring home and light up your room, because that's what we need. We need a lot of upbeating message, people mindset, health, wealth, you know, mental, physical. And I have to say, you are a lot younger than I am, but I really admire you for doing all the things that you are doing. And now you're launching that jumpstart. Even just the word of the programs already make you want to just like,
yes, I want it to be that. Hey, I've seen your jump roping too, skills. So,
well, for you only, my dear.
I know.
You are daring.
I'm not sharing that.
It's okay. I do hula hoops, I jump, but I, you know, every now and then I get a little crazy and I show up on the YouTube, on the Facebook. But it's just because you're surrounding people that's upbeat. And if you need a coach, I'm not trying to sell Edna, but I'm saying that she is the one that if you need somebody that can give you an upbeat energy, she's the one to be friend, to have influence, or to even just work with. And I can't say enough about Edna. I totally adore her. And I think that everything that she does in life is about thinking about other people. And that's just really great. So telling us, so are you still in QVC? What's your next move, and what's your programs like?
Yes, yes. So right now it's a little, QVC is on the back burner. You know, with the pandemics, there were so many different changes, which is okay because it opened up room for me to do this. You know, a year ago, I was kind of in my own funk, and I'm not so overtly happy that I don't have my down days. You know, there are days where I'm just like, ooh, but I have done a lot of the mindset work to try and shift it. So I'm always trying to reframe what's happening. And I always believe there's a lesson in everything. If I can say, I'm going to get the lesson in all of this, no matter how hard it is. And you both are the perfect examples of that. Look who you are to the world, you know, because of where you've come from. And likewise, you know, I did a TEDx talk as well on forgiveness. Heavy, heavy, heavy topic. Not something I work with people on forgiveness, but it's something that freed me up. That gave me energy to show up the way that I'm supposed to in the world. You know, I want, like I told you, you know, I used to kind of apologize, like, God, she's so optimistic. What's wrong with her? You know, I kind of got that feeling from people. And I used to kind of, like, depending on who I was with, give it or don't. And
I hear
that
you.
was holding back. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? We're all here to be who we are. And for some people, I'm wired, it's in my DNA, you know, like to be optimistic about so many things. I can spin it on a dime. I'm not in victim mode. I have been afraid, and then I go do what I need to do to go take some baby step towards it, or some leap. You know, sometimes it's a leap, sometimes it's a baby step. But to me, that's the definition of a badass, is somebody who gets out of their comfort zone and grows from that. Like when you get out of your comfort zone and you take that risk, and you get filled up, like, I did it, you know, like you're 5 years old again, riding the bike, you know, for the first time. It's like, as adults, we still have that inner child in there that's trying to fulfill those things we haven't in the past. It's okay. And to me, it's the people who are taking a risk, that aren't worried about what everybody's saying about you. Just keep showing up. And so, you know, I have people that will come to me, hire me as a coach. The Jumpstart program, great. We've got community, you've got one-on-one coaching to get you started. We're going to work on the things that are going to help you with health and wellness, because that's the gateway to the bigger picture. We're going to tap into mindset, because we got those limiting beliefs and those things that we tell ourselves that are false stories, right? But that we live by them. But when you get into the badass mode and you're like, all right, I'm rolling up my sleeves here, I'm going to play bigger, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. And then you do, that will change your life. I had no business being on that bodybuilding stage. That was just something I said, I'm going to do it. I have no gymnastics background. I have no dance background. I never lifted weights before I started with the trainer. I wasn't dying to be a bodybuilder when I was a kid. This was something
that alone is just like mind-boggling. Mind-blowing.
Yeah, I learned discipline. I learned sacrifice. I wasn't very fun. I didn't go to happy hour often. You know, I'm in my 20s hanging out with people I work with, and but it was an experience. But I got that I understand I have more control in my life than I was using, that I have the power to change things in any direction I want to. Even if you don't know the answer, you look for the resources, right? Whatever it is you want, I believe you can move in that direction. And really, it's about joy and excitement. I don't need to be a bodybuilder for 20 years. That wasn't my path. I just needed to do it, check it off my bucket list, and move on. I ran a marathon. I only needed to do a marathon one time. I don't need to be running.
That's doing my bucket list, girl. I need to check that. Oh my God. Maybe just have a marathon.
There you go. Well, I always said if I did half, I wouldn't have done the full. I would have been like, I'm done. Like, so I just went, like, I didn't even run a 5K.
Oh, bear in mind, I'm a lot older than you are, so.
don't worry about age. Age is just the number. We can do it, you know?
It is, but my bones tell me otherwise.
Well, you know, it really, I think the attitude is the first thing, right? It's the way that we think about life. It's from the inside out. It's not from the outside in. You know, I'm involved in biohacking and products and all that stuff. That's great. But if you don't have a good attitude or a good mindset, nothing else works. Like, it has to come from the deepest recesses of who you are, and authenticity. You know, last year I have a couple different businesses, and one of them, I just was burned out. And I'm like, I didn't like it. I had a bad attitude about it. I even started blaming, and I just didn't. And I'm like, I don't like feeling like this. Like, what's going on? I need to go take a retreat. You know, I had to take a few steps back, and I just had to figure myself out. And I remember, you know, it was about 6 months, and here's a pandemic, right? Like, everybody has their own experience with that. And every month was a different experience as we went along. And one night, in the middle of the night, I had this little voice that just, I woke up and I said, I heard, like, go see what your mentors think about what's going on. And I remember being reintroduced to Abraham Hicks, which is all about the law of attraction. I listened to one YouTube, changed everything. I shifted. I got more into an empowered place and alignment. It was about coming from my truth. And I was tired. And there were other things calling me that it was okay to tap into. Creating a coaching program to help people, starting a YouTube series. I don't get paid for it. It's a lot of work, but I love it. I wanted to give that, you know, and then I got excited again. And that business, I didn't do anything for 6 months, grew the biggest it has in 7 years in that time. When I came back and I was like, this is how Edna needs to run her business, everything was all okay. And you know what it did? This is what happens when you live your truth. Yeah. You give everybody permission around you to do the same thing. Right. And as I was living my truth, the next person said, well, I need to do this for me. And she started to light up. And the next person said, no, that doesn't work for me, but this does. And she started to light up, and everybody rose together. And it was the most beautiful thing, all because one person started saying, this is how I need to do it, you know? And so the ripple effect of you showing up in the world the way that you authentically feel you want to show up is that everybody around you gets permission to. And that's what I love. If I'm going to be a badass, I'm going to help you be a badass. And we're all going to be badasses together and change the world.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. This is so, so true. I mean, it's just like it's okay to be miserable if you don't know where you're going. It's okay to take a few days and moan about it and be whatever, get it out of the system. But then look for something to inspire. Sometime one conversation with somebody, one YouTube, somebody just did that, or one book, or one something, but you have to want to do that. And as for me and Sarah, just like one idea, I was in the middle of cooking and I call her up. I was like, would you like to do it with me? And she didn't even hesitate or say, wait, I'm going to go ask my husband or something. I say, every day. She's like, okay. And I was like, all right, we're doing it.
Yay, Sarah.
I still can't believe it. I met her once. We met face to face once.
Wow.
Once. I don't know this lady from Adam.
Uh-huh.
But we become friends for the last 18 months, 16 months, whatever. We've been seeing each other every day. It's just because one idea saying that, you know, we don't make money on this show either, but we get to meet so many wonderful people. And the whole entire idea is to inspire people to get out of their ruts. And don't be worried, because we have been there. We want people to know that this too shall pass. But you have to do something about it, because the longer you sit, the harder to get up and get out.
Yes, that's why we do exercise in the first week of the jump
Right.
program. I mean, seriously, it sounds like, it sounds so trivial. It's not. You have to get up and move. And I believe when you go for a walk, oftentimes I'll tell people, look, if you haven't been exercising, can you do 10 or 20 minutes every other day? Could you just walk, not for speed, not up a hill, just in a straight line? Like just move your body, because when you start going, the oxygen's flowing, the brain turns on, right? Ideas get to drop in. This is where inspiration happens. And we need to listen to those voices too. We can't just say, oh, that, Lee, if you had, just said, oh, that's a good idea, Sarah probably won't say yes. Like, and you never called her.
Act on it, right?
Right, yeah, look at the impact you've made because you went first and Sarah didn't even think about yes. Like just yes, because she knew it was right. And she felt like, and look what you guys have created. Like, this is how great things happen. If you look out in the world at everything that's huge, Amazon didn't start like Amazon is.
Probably in the basement or the garage. That's where they started.
I know, with books. All he wanted to do was get books to people faster and cheaper than anybody else. Now that empire, right? The Apple, like the same thing, out of the garage, everything starts with a seed of an idea. And so when I think of, badasses and jumpstart, this is what happens. You start with jumpstart, you get to badass if you don't quit, right? If you don't quit. And along the way, you have to listen and go with inspiration, even if it's the craziest idea that you've ever heard. There are some crazy things like a bodybuilding competition. What? Like, what am I doing?
Who does that? Oh, wait, yeah, Edna does it.
Who does that? I know. Well, there was a reason it changed my life. It became my next career. And then through that, even personal training, I was picky about that. Like, I wanted to work one-on-one. I didn't want to do classes and all that. I really wanted that relationship piece. And then I realized, if everything, which I used to think was about diet and exercise, then why isn't everybody thin and happy? Because it's not about diet and exercise only. It's about what's going on in here. And that's what the life coaching came. And then you build from there. And if you keep going, you will get to badass. You can be a badass today.
Yep.
Right?
So true. I mean, it's all start from that one tiny action that you need to take. And I just love the part that just walk. I mean, if you have a dog, walk the dog. If you have a kid, walk the kid. If you don't have a kid, you don't have a dog, walk your husband.
Walk something or someone.
I know, right?
Yes. I walk by myself.
Yes. Sometimes that's your quiet time, right? You can get more energy from that. Gosh, and then you start showing up. And I'm telling you, we have to make space. We got to lower the stress. And I have a Facebook group. Everybody's welcome to come to Edna's Jumpstart Facebook page. And basically I talk about the themes of the program on the page. And, we have Stress Less Thursday and Tasty Tuesday and Wake Up Wednesday, because we talk about sleep and diet and all that. And these ideas that come in, sometimes you just need that one thing. But the biggest thing I will tell you is you've got to start now.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go big out of the gate. You don't have to do the biggest thing on your list that you want and complete that
just
today.
Do something. Just
one
do something.
Little step. The compound effect over and over and over is huge. How many guests have you guys had on this show?
Oh my God, I can't count.
Right? A year and a half. Compound effect, one guest at a time. And look at how many lives you've changed, because not only are the people watching maybe getting something, but so do we as the guests.
It
so
doors. It opens doors. It makes connections, it opens doors. And it's just beautiful things, because you don't even foresee what you're going to get. And then all of it just come in, and, you meet new people, and you might be able to collaborate. You may be able to form a new business. And I think the reward is so much more than just sit and wait to see what happens.
Right. You're going to do that. We're not promised tomorrow. Today is the day to do it. Whatever it is, you take one step towards that thing that you're putting on the back burner. You're going to feel amazing.
And I just want to say head off to you in your vacation time. And you already have 2, if not more, interview today. I heard a little bit about the laughing yoga, and I was laughing because I have done laughing yoga before when I was in Pennsylvania, and I love it. And I was still looking for people to, and it is really fun. I have done it multiple times, and I was like, oh my God, yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so great to hear. I've heard of it, but I didn't know anybody who had done it, and I haven't.
God,
Like,
I
that's
have done
out of my
dozen
comfort zone. You
times
too,
up in
Sarah?
the gym.
I did it. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Siobhan Coates is amazing. Like, she just has that laugh. I'm like, do I have to have your laugh? Like, all of a sudden I have to
So
like.
Sarah got a very catchy laugh. When she laughs, you just want to laugh with her.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
I have to tell you, I cannot tell joke at my Toastmaster because I laugh before the punchline.
You cannot be a comedian. Me too. My husband's like, oh gosh, just say it first and then laugh.
Sometimes it doesn't roll that way. It's okay.
But this is the energy we need to. Goofing around with girlfriends, with neighbors, with anything, anyone, your kid, your pet, just to get that energy up, to get yourself moving to the next step. And that is so critical. Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't fail you. I have Edna up here, and that's the proof. You can tell her energy is exuberance, and she's the type of person that you want to look around to see who's your Edna, who's that you can tap into the energy. And I'm so lucky I have met Edna, and I'm so happy that I can share her with my world, the people in my circle. And I hope that if you listen to the show and you want to make connection with Edna, she's all open arms, and she will take you in and train you and work with you and inspire you, or even be your friend too. So
that happens a lot. I do love people. Yes. Thank you guys so much. That's fantastic. I really just have the biggest joy in connecting with
you make me the happiest
anybody
person.
who wants to play bigger.
You make me the happiest person.
Oh,
Finally get
so
on the
cute.
show. I was like, you and Katie Cupstart. I was like, I want Katie to be up too. She's another one that,
Yay.
of great energy. But I know that we get over a little bit of time, but we want to honor everybody's time. And thank you, Edna, so much for being on here with us. And she's on vacation, guys. She's on vacation. Listen, this woman doesn't know when to stop.
I do have to balance that a little better. Sometimes I'm working on that. This is a yes for sure. So thank you for having me.
This is talking to girlfriends, so it is
yes,
fun. It's not really work. So it's okay. Thank you so much for spending your busy time with us, Edna, and
thank you.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday, and we will find more of this type of energy, just so we'll get you go over the weekend.
Yes.
Get out of bed, get out of your chair, get off Zoom, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, hang around a little bit. See you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Thank you, guys.